today I have a special guest with me, Ivonne, and we're going to talk about self-love. But before we get into that, I want to let Ivonne present herself, introduce herself.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I've never really been a guest on a podcast before, so it's very fun and interesting. My name is Ivonne. I am turning 27 this month, and I started a new Instagram account, which is, where we met. You found my account, and I just basically started that account because I wanted something away from my personal life. And yeah, I guess like we'll get into it, but I've been through a lot, and what I share on my page is basically encouraging others to, live a healthy, happy life that is authentic to them. And so that's very important to me, and I am just very proud of what I've been sharing, and the people that I've connected with so far are amazing.
What you've been sharing is amazing. And I followed your,
Yeah.
I think when you first started your page, uh,
Mhm.
which wasn't long ago. I think it was a month or two, maybe.
I think it was in July or June or July. I can't remember one of those. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love your reels and I love your content in general. And happy early birthday. When
Oh,
is
thank you.
it exactly?
It's on the 21st
Oh,
of October.
so our topic is self-love. And we're going to talk about self-love, but first, let's define self-love and how each one of us would define self-love. So if you want to start, go ahead.
Sure. So I think that self-love is very intricate and complicated and so much more than just like loving yourself. I think it's like you choose yourself every day, and in order to do that, you have to like learn and accept yourself through like, just either trial and error or just like your life experiences. You just learn like how to accept yourself every day and choose yourself every day. And I think, believing in yourself is very important to, you know, truly like love yourself. And I don't know, just like understanding your self-worth also and not letting other people define that is a huge component to what self-love is.
Yeah, 100%. I actually agree. And I have the same definition. For me, self-love is loving myself even in the low moments and the moments where I'm not, I'm going to say, quote unquote, perfect. And appreciating and accepting myself despite what I might be struggling with, or despite not being, for example, productive, despite not being able to do certain things that for example, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago used to do easily. Despite a lot of things, like despite changes in my life and in everything, and I feel like me being able to appreciate myself just for being me, that is like I'm gonna say, is it the pinnacle? But
Yeah, I think that is.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, how would you, if you were like to talk about your self-love journey, how for you, when did it start and how did it start?
Yeah, so I guess like my journey probably started in high school. I was never like diagnosed with anything, but looking back and reflecting on the person that I was and the habits that I had, I know that like I suffered from body dysmorphia and just not accepting myself as who I was and always like wanting to have something else or be something else. And I was an athlete in all of my younger years, I guess. I played basketball, and so when I went to college, I like didn't play basketball anymore. I didn't want to like play professionally or anything in college. So I just stopped like working out, and I gained 40 or 50 pounds. And I think it was really hard for me because I didn't I've never seen myself look like that. And so I don't know, yeah, it was just a new reality for me. And so it was really hard for me to accept that new me. And then so that was also something. And then on top of that, in sophomore year or in junior year of college, I got into a car accident and I lost my four front teeth. And I think that's when everything changed for me because like on top of me suffering from so much like hate for myself and my body and just the person that I was. I went out drinking every night. I like, I just like didn't really care about a lot of things. But like that night after, when I was in the hospital, like I was not emotional, like I didn't cry. I just know like what happened to me was like the events of my life leading up to this moment. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. And that was a chance for me to like either like sulk and like just like hide or just realize that like this is an opportunity for me to be someone different and like be someone different for myself and the people around me. So I guess after that, which was in 2016, I just I just like felt like my mentality completely switched and I realized that like if I continue to bash on myself or not love certain parts of me, then 10 years down the line I'm going to be like why am I hating myself? Like I'm literally like middle like going to have children and I'm supposed to be providing for my family, ideally. Yeah, I still cannot like accept who I am. And so like the fear of not changing really like made me want to be a better person, I guess. And I think the main thing for me was like showing myself love because I didn't know how to do that for like so many years of my life. Um, but yeah, and so that kind of leads up to in 2020, I decided to show my teeth on TikTok or like my lack of teeth. I just like, yeah, I just like, was like, I'm gonna create a new TikTok, kind of like how I created a new Instagram. And I was like, I'm just gonna create this new account and post this video, and none of my friends know, and just like show it. And I could show it, I could show you it like, after this session, but it's basically me just being like, show your insecurity or whatever, and then I would like smile and I had no teeth on, and it like went completely viral. It had like, I've never hit a million views, but it went over like 2 million views, and like I was like, what the? And so people were commenting on there, and like obviously there's like the people who like thought it was absolutely gross and like weird and like why would you show like the world that type of stuff. But then there's like those few people, I would say like the 10% of people that like reached out to me and was like, wow, I cannot believe that you did that. I feel like the most seen that I've ever had in my whole life, and I can't believe like you shared and you have the courage to do that. And it really like inspires me to like want to do that for myself. And like, either if they're like suffering from like um their own accident, or like they have some kind of like disease that keeps them from like, having hair or having teeth or whatever it is. Like I felt like in that moment, the most important part like of my message was that like people are not experiencing what they're experiencing alone. And yeah, so that's kind of what kicked off like everything that I do now. I just see that a part of my purpose in this lifetime is to like show myself love in order to inspire other people to do the same for themselves. Because yeah, I just don't want like people to learn. I guess like it's okay to learn it the hard way, but I would love to like save people the trouble of like, so much like like I guess like self inflicted like emotional pain. Like you're just like bashing on yourself for no reason when like you just know that there are other people out there, or remember that there are other people out there that are experiencing similar things, and you're not alone in this journey, I guess. So yeah, and that brings me here today, I guess. Just still I'm recovered now and I have my implants, but I think it's still very important for me to share like what I look like before, because yeah, I just imagine like not having front teeth and smiling in public and everyone's gonna be like, why is she doing that? Like what, what is wrong with this person? I don't know. It's a lot of judgments that I want to inspire people not to be defined by. Like don't let other people say like that you look a certain way and it's not okay or whatever.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. That is beautiful. And I totally agree with what you said to uh, try to help people to find or provide people with resources or experience so that they don't have to self-inflict the pain
Yeah.
and just have them. You don't have to like go through a difficult experience, and you can just like learn from someone else. Though I do believe that learning from experience is great, but let
Yeah.
can save yourself certain experiences just by listening to other people who have gone through other things.
Yeah.
And I know you said you're healing, but I still want to acknowledge what you went through, and I'm sorry for your accident. And I was gonna tell you I followed you when because I received one of your TikToks about your accident and how you're working and healing through it, and that's how I followed you because I felt such vulnerability and so much like sharing, and I was like, you are so courageous for putting your story out there, and that inspired me
Mhm.
so much. And I was like that is just amazing. And
Thank you.
it's not easy obviously to share what you went through to the public because as you said, you received a few comments where people are like, oh, that's gross, that's disgusting, like you're putting yourself out.
Yeah.
And mad respect for that because that is amazing. It's really courageous. I really it's great. Um and yeah, I think for regarding my story, that was about the same like not the same experience, but the same timeline. It also started in high school. And I think for me in high school, I realized that I was allowing a lot of disrespect coming from people. And I never like thought I was, but like when I think about it, I think I was maybe a people pleaser and just
Oh
like
yeah.
allowing people to just like, like, oh yeah, okay, sure. Like you don't want to do like, okay, it's fine. Like I don't want to do it, but sure. And it's not like anything major or anything big. It's just that if someone says, oh, can I have your phone? And I'm just like, I don't want anyone to touch my phone, but then I can't say no. And it's
Mhm.
little things. And I feel like I was allowing a lot of people to treat me well in a very trashy way. And looking back at it, a lot of my friendships, like not all of them, but a lot of them were toxic. And I think it was just because I didn't value myself and I didn't give myself self-esteem. And I remember it was at the age of 15. I think I was just like, I was sitting in my bed and was like, that's it. Like there was no way tomorrow I'm waking up and I'm allowing other self disrespect and things like that. I was like going through certain things that I don't have the same courage as you to be able to speak about. It's still things that I'm healing through, so I don't feel like I always want to speak about them because I know they can help so much, but I'm still trying to like get that courage to like say it because a lot of the time you want to say something, but then you're, I don't know, there's so much, not fear, but just like a lot of like talk where it's like, but what if people say this and what if people say that?
Mhm.
And so I don't really want to put myself out there right now, but there were a lot of things that happened that just made me realize that I'm disrespecting myself and I'm not standing up for myself. And it's about time that I do. And so that happened around the age of 15. And it was just like, it was still like just slow, I'm going to say slow steps of like putting myself out there, standing up for myself when it's required and needed. When I see if someone speaks to me in a like negative way or in a bad way, or someone disrespects me, I tell myself like, okay, you know what, Hajar, challenge yourself, stand up for yourself, like because you're gonna go back at home and you're gonna be proud that you stood up for yourself instead of allowing such disrespect. And I think when I put myself out there and I started standing up for myself, and I saw that the fears that I was putting in my head and the like what I was telling myself was none of it was true. For me, when I realized that and I realized I can defend myself and I can be there for me, that's like when my journey started. And then it continued in uni in 2015 and 2016. 2015 was like the year where I really discovered so much about myself and so many lessons because I was alone. I went to uni, I was far away from my parents and my family. But in 2016, that was like the year where I started really building my confidence and learning a lot about self love and self love that is like outside of like what I do. Like it's regardless, like it doesn't matter. It's not, I don't love myself because I do this and that. It's, I love myself because I'm me. And I love myself because like my existence. I love myself because this is who I am as a person. It could be anything, my values, my principles. So I think that's how like it started in high school, and there was a lot of things that happened in high school, and then that sort of like pushed my self-love when I was alone with my thoughts
Yeah.
to just like retrospect and think.
Yeah. Can I just like make a little comment? I just wrote down so I don't forget.
Yes, yes, of course.
Oh, okay. So when you brought up the things that are in your mind, I like I've been well, in 2020 was actually my years of revelation. And so I want to commend you for like I guess discovering a lot in when you were in school because I felt like when I was in school, I was just like being really, like caged bird being like released into the wild, where I just do like whatever I want and just do random things. And I just like it didn't spend those times like learning about myself. Instead, I like, I spent those times like I thought I was like trying to better myself, but I was actually like putting myself through, toxic cycles of like trying to like accept myself more by working on my body or like all those like external things. And so yeah, I just wanted to say like that's very good, great for you, and I'm very happy for you, and I'm sure that other people are also experiencing the same things, and that can go, can relate to you. But yeah, so what I was saying about the mental part, a lot of the times, well, in 2020, sorry, backtrack. In 2020, I was like deep into my self-discovery and I was reading a lot of books. And when you said that part about, having your mind like hold back or like make up these scenarios, whenever you're in fear, it's because like, well, I learned that it's because your ego is trying to like protect you from all these things, like all these potential things that other people could say, all these like judgments that they could, or like hate comments or whatever, like just a random list of millions of things that people could say. Your ego is going to bring that up to you because that part of you wants to be held back and be more comfortable and stay like within the comfort zone and not say anything. So but in reality, like speaking up for yourself or standing up for yourself or doing something that you won't normally do, like the reality is you don't know what's gonna happen, right? You don't know what people are gonna say, and you don't know if people are even gonna be like mean or unaccepting, and it could be like the complete opposite, right? So yeah, I just like think that whenever we can identify those like moments when you are like so hesitant to say something, just like think about like why not say it, like or why not do it, and like what if it becomes like one of the best things that you've ever done for yourself, so that was like my little tidbit.
No, right. You're so right because I've been thinking it's been like 4 months, I think. And I've been just in my thoughts and thinking about vulnerability and how I can be more vulnerable. A lot of the time I struggle with vulnerability and just being like putting myself out there in the sense like of my stories and like my experiences and everything. I share the things that I take from my experiences, but I never share the actual experience. Well, one, because I'm a very private person, but the second thing is also because I don't a lot of times I'm like, I don't really want to put myself, like, not put myself out there, but like my vulnerability. It's like, especially online. It's such a question that I always ask myself because it's just out there and it's not really something that you can just take out. Like if you put it, it's there to stay. And I think because of me being private, I think that's sort of like the thing that like it just sort of clashes. Me wanting to be vulnerable online, but also the fact that it's just like so public and I'm such a private person. But then on when it comes to like certain things, there are obviously certain things that I don't want to share. Not everything is like obviously shareable. Um,
Mm.
and some things I think that when you said you need to ask yourself like what is like stopping you and why do you want to like why do you not want to step into that fear? I totally agree. But in sometimes I think the answer is just that you like, yeah, I don't want people's reaction, but also why
Mm.
do I not want people's reaction? It's because I'm still in the process of healing and I still don't have like the emotional, I'm gonna say, power or support to be able to handle that. And
Yeah.
yeah, so like it could be both. But I told like what book is it if you remember?
um it's called The Untethered Soul. It's in
Oh,
my drawer. Yeah, it's
I
a great book. I love that book.
read it, but it is on my list because I'm trying to find it in our bookstore and I couldn't. So I think I'm gonna
Oh,
ebook, but I'm not sure if it's available as an ebook.
I think it is, actually. I'm not sure though.
I heard so many people talk about it, and it's been 3 years.
It's Yeah, it's so good. And I just like, well, I didn't actually finish it, but it's so good. I didn't finish it yet. I've probably finished half of it. And yeah, I think I'm trying to like really like absorb all of it because like when you read through something and you want to actually implement it into your life, it's so important. Like another thing for self-love, I think, is that like when you learn things, you are actively implementing it. It's not easy to change your mindset. It's not easy to do all that stuff. But if you're like making it a habit to like make those little tweaks often, then it'll like slowly integrate itself into your life. But don't like pressure yourself too much to like implement everything all at once, I think.
Yes. Actually, if we can go, like, if we can dig a little deeper into what you just said, because it's so important, especially in the self-help, like, sphere or industry online. It feels like because, everyone is talking about something depending on the people that you follow. For the viewer, I feel like there is just so much information. And sometimes it feels like you have to fix everything in your life. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to work out. I need to wake up early. I need to fix my sleep. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to read more books. And it feels sometimes so overwhelming. And so I wanted to say this because I always speak about personal development, is that it's so important to, for your own self-care, not to overwhelm yourself with everything, and just appreciate yourself in the state where you are right now, and that not everything, like, how it feels sometimes like you need to change, constantly change everything in you. Like when I first started personal development, that's how it felt. It felt like I constantly needed, like, there was so many things that I wanted to do. So it's like,
Mm.
let me fix this, and let me fix this, and let me fix that. And sometimes that can actually, it's good. Like, I love personal development, but it could come off as something, it could be actually the opposite of self-love if it's too obsessive. And so,
Yeah.
like, it's important to just choose what you want and just take it slow. Like you said with the book, you're taking it slow. You're just like really taking in like the information, because I'm sure there's a lot of information in the book. There's a
Yeah.
value to take from it. So that is important. It's also part of self-care to not overwhelm yourself with everything, and to also just like accept yourself as you are and slowly make the work. Like, you're gonna get there. Progress takes time.
Yeah. And I think to understand like why, like the core understanding of why you're doing something can really give you clarity on like, what is this little habit that I want to pick up so important to me? Is it because like I see everyone else doing it, or is it because I think that this is gonna, blank, it's gonna help me improve my life in whatever X amount of ways? You know, it has to be like it has to relate back to yourself. And I mean that just goes into the whole topic of like not consuming too many people's content because that is also very, exhausting and completely draining. And yeah.
But 100% agree on this, because like, personal development, self-help, everything, it's not a one size fits all. So like what works for you might not work for me. And so what you said, like, really important to choose and understand the intention behind why you want to build a habit. It's so important. Like, I know a lot of people that work really well with waking up early, like super, super early, like 4:30, 5 in the morning. That's great. But I also know a lot of people that just, it just doesn't work with their, I'm gonna say, lifestyle, or the lifestyle that they want. So
Mm,
waking up at 7:30, 8, 9, 10 is more than enough, and it works for them and it makes them happy, and it's self-care for them, and that's good. There's no right or wrong when it comes to life. Yes, there are things that are obviously healthier, and there are things that are better for the body and the mind, but like in general, when you're choosing a habit, choose the habit because it feels right and not just because everyone is doing it. And this just made me think
yeah.
of the that girl trend.
Oh yeah. I know. It was it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of I think it's very silly, but that's just my opinion. There are things that can you can take away from it that are very inspiring, but I think it's not as realistic as it's not as realistic and doable in my opinion for my lifestyle.
Same for me. I made a post about it, and I did say that, like, a lot of the things, a lot of the habits in that girl, I really love like, a lot of the habits are really good. Like, the eating whole, like, really good food, wholesome food, just nourishing your body, and all these things, like, waking up, not necessarily waking up early, but like having a good sleep schedule, taking care of
Mm,
all these things are really good. But it's the fact that they're all merged into one aesthetic, beautiful video that makes it
mm,
like you have to have everything so perfect in your life. Like,
yeah.
and so it's really important to not take the that girl aesthetic. What I call it an aesthetic, but it's not. I don't think it's an aesthetic. but it's important not to take the dagger like I'm gonna say the trend, not trend,
Yeah, trend.
yeah, as like a whole. If it inspires you, it's great. If it motivates you, it's great. And if you see certain habits that you want to grab from them and just like add them to your life, that's great. But if you think that you have to do every single thing in order to reach that level, it's not necessary. Like there are a lot of other people that have, I'm gonna say the level of, they're also successful, they're healthy, they're living good lives, they're having good lifestyle that are not necessarily
Mhm.
in the that trend, that girl trend.
Mhm. I agree.
So, how about we share a few self-love tips? If you
Okay.
give like one big self-love tips, what would it be?
Okay. I guess my one tip that I've been implementing lately is just implementing some alone time and being okay with being uncomfortable. I mean, it ties into so many things, right? When you go out, when I go out in public, and I haven't done this yet, I've been procrastinating, and this is something that I really want to do, but I want to go to a restaurant and I'm gonna say I just envision this table for one, and I'm gonna sit there and just be on my, just do my own thing. I have not done it yet, and I'm sure it's because I am just really nervous about being out in public, but that is because, I'm identifying fear of other people looking at me and being like, okay, why is she sitting there alone? Which in reality, I actually don't care. But I just think that like having to deal with that is like nerve-wracking to me. And so that is something I would definitely recommend is just spending time doing things alone and getting out of your house and, understanding what the little things make you happy in your day. Like yesterday, I went to Target by myself and I spent like $200. I'm not recommending to spend a lot of money. I'm just recommending that you go do something that makes you happy, Like if it's just like going to look at fall decor, like whatever it is, like do it by yourself. And that alone has taught me so much the past few months, and that like it's okay to not be with other people and to enjoy your time just like your own company. And that is something that I think has increased my self-worth more and just the way that I look at myself. I think I really enjoy being with myself, and that's something that I would love for other people to feel too.
I totally agree with this. And you will love being in a restaurant, like going on. I tried it 2 times and it was just so empowering. It's
Yeah.
empowering because you're like, oh my God, I actually did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the first time I did it. Yes, some people stared, but it's because I chose the wrong date. But I'm so proud of myself. But I went on Valentine's Day, but I forgot it was Valentine's Day, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought I was like ditched or something. So it was funny, but I really was so happy and proud of myself because when I left the restaurant, I was like, wait, there are only couples here, and then I was so happy, like I was so proud. And it was so much fun. And the whole day was like a date, like a solo date. And it was so cool. And just like you said, like going on Target, like just grocery shopping, for example. I love going on grocery shopping runs on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moments of like choosing the groceries and just, I don't know, it's such a self-care, self-love activity and it's so beautiful. And I think you said to put yourself out there, or was I in the beginning?
Yeah. I guess like to do things that are otherwise uncomfortable. Like yeah, just put yourself out there and in public, I guess. I want to say in public, but I think that's really important because like it just brings up so many emotions for you when you're around other people and you're like, whoa, like, if you can identify like, oh, I'm afraid that people are judging me, then you know that like ultimately, I guess there's nothing to worry about because it's just, people. They're just people outside. That's it.
Right? I have two things to say regarding like people
Yeah.
and what you said regarding people's judgment. I think it's important to change the narrative and the power we give to people. Like obviously, like a lot of the tip that people say is that people are actually do like really do not care, and everyone is like living their own. But sometimes you truly feel like people are judging you because of the stares and everything. So when you truly feel like someone is judging you, I think for me it's just changing the narrative. Like I know that for me, I don't go out and judge people. If someone is living their life, like they're just living their life, that's it. So if someone
Yeah.
is me, I know that they're just in a poor mindset, and I shouldn't like be like feel bad about it and just continue living my life and putting myself out there, just like you said. And regarding putting yourself out there, I think for me, what also helped me when it comes to putting myself out there was expressing myself through my style. Because I've always loved fashion, and I always had like a very like I was always attracted to a very particular style. And it wasn't like it felt when I was in high school, it felt like a bit too much. But also because we had uniform in class.
Oh yeah.
But then when I went to uni, I remember the third year of uni, I felt a little more comfortable. And I was like, you know what? I have a lot of clothes that I really love. Why am I always wearing just like, why am I wearing jeans and a top? Nothing bad with the jeans and a top, but it did not represent how I would like to express myself. And I remember I started like just like experimenting with fashion. And like I honestly there were times where I was just like a bit wild with my creativity, but I loved it. And it was so fun. There was a time where I went with a fur coat to class.
Oh,
And I
amazing.
realized like for me when I woke up in the morning and I chose that outfit, well, I chose it at night. But like I know like it did not cross my mind. I honestly did not care. And I never like I wasn't like, oh, a fur coat, like it's not like the right place for uni, but it's fine. Honestly, I loved it. I loved it because it allowed me to express myself and also detach myself from like people's expectations and also people's opinions. Because
Yeah.
we're in a setting where everyone is going to be either casual or chill, business as well, because we were in business school. But me coming with my own style and being like, you know what, I don't want to fit the like everyone's style because that's just me and I want to express myself. And if I don't do it here, there's no other place for me to do it. And so that was like a huge challenge for me because I know I had a lot of stares and I also know and I heard them say things, but it honestly didn't matter. Like when I look back at that, dressing up and like channeling my style and my creativity, it made me feel so good about myself. And so that is why again I like it's what you said, to put yourself out there and do the things that you love.
Yeah, and because it doesn't really matter, honestly. Like you said, it does not matter what other people think. And down the line, are they going to like, I don't know, is it gonna like bring, I guess come up again in their lives? Probably not, but you're gonna remember like how you felt in that moment, and that's all that matters, really.
Exactly. I do have one more tip, I think also that really helped me. It's to get to know myself. I think getting
Yeah.
to know myself tremendously helped me with self-love. I feel like it's the same when you like speak with people and you get to know people and you ask people questions, especially when you're making friends or making connections. And that's how you kind of like you lean towards someone or not, but it's kind of how you get to learn about someone. And I feel like when I started doing that with myself and asking myself like questions, like how, like what is it that I like? And it's just simple like questions like what is your favorite color? Wait, Hajar, what is your favorite game? Like, what do you like doing on, I don't know, Friday night? What is your self-care activity? All these things tremendously helped me, like, a lot in knowing myself, setting boundaries, and a lot of other things. But when it comes to self-love, it helped me so much understand my needs and the things that I want. So when I feel down, I knew exactly what I was going to do because I knew myself so well. And I didn't have to, like, like decision fatigue or stress myself about, like, what self-care activity am I going to do today? And I think, yeah, knowing myself tremendously helped in like my self-care journey.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I guess another part, I'm not sure. But I'm just gonna go off the. I'm not sure how much time is left on this thing because my thing says less than 1 minute.
Me too. It's okay. So everyone, it cut off, but we're back. So you were saying something the about getting to know yourself, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, when you were talking about getting to know yourself, and, you know, I think that people might have the question, like, how do I do that? Because I know personally, like, still, even now, today, as in, like, right now, this moment, I feel like very unclear and overwhelmed and just like my purpose in my either my content or my life or my career, like I still feel a lot of like unclarity, and so I feel that Um, Maybe something that would help people who do feel unclear about how to get to know themselves. Um, Something that helped me was like doing the inner work. And I know that's kind of like getting to know yourself in the more like the darker side where the traumas and, things that are not necessarily beautiful experiences. But I think that actually like sitting with things that have happened to you and understanding like what you can get, what you gained from that versus like what you are losing from those experiences helped me learn a lot about myself. Like, for example, when it comes to my accident, I don't necessarily feel like it was a big trauma to me. Although physically, yeah, it was. But I think because the trauma that I experienced through this accident made or came to light in a way that was more like teaching me about my emotions and teaching me about like my thought process. And I guess kind of to explain that before my accident, I was very like negative. Like I said, I like would go out a lot and I would like, suppress all my emotions by like drinking and doing all these things, fun things, or the things that I thought were fun back then, and not like addressing the issues or the problems that I had inside. Instead, I would like suppress them. And so I think to really know yourself, you have to like not suppress these things that come up, whether it's like fear of judgment, whether it's fear of like your parents' disapproval or like anything. Like, I think to understand that this is why I'm scared and this is why I feel, you know, hesitant to do this, like that is in itself will help you learn that, either like these things are actually not a threat or I don't have to be scared, I guess, to move on in my life. And it takes practice and it takes a lot of healing. It's like a whole journey. But that practice of doing the inner work and identifying what my shadows are really helped me, like, I guess, evolve and know myself better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that for me as well, like a lot of times, early a few years ago, I think that's like that was my main focus, where it was more about focusing on my pains and my traumas and the things that hurt me. I do think it's important to, if you have access to that, it's important to seek therapy as well while you're doing the work, so you don't do it alone, because it's not
Yeah.
always easy to manage all the emotions, especially when you say inner work. I do see people that make uh, that share the inner work on social media, and sometimes the I'm gonna say the ideas are different. Some therapists promote inner work, and other therapists like shadow work. Some therapists promote shadow work, other therapists don't, and they say it's important to not do it on your own because it can really like trigger a lot of things, and that is always
Yeah.
have it with a professional. Um, so yeah, like that was like regarding shadow work, but definitely I think inner work is important, and like you said, it helps you determine your fears. And for me, it's like I just put everything in that one basket of like getting to know yourself. um oh, I forgot you had a dog.
Sorry, my dogs came
Hi.
in.
Okay. And so yeah, it's I think for me, I put everything in that like box of like understanding what my triggers are, understanding my fears, and just all these things, like what are my stressors, etc. And I feel like
Yeah.
it helps with getting to know yourself. You did ask a really good question. You said for a lot of people it could be a bit overwhelming to just say like, okay, you need to learn about yourself, like how to learn about yourself. And you did mention inner work. I also would like to complete it with like trying out different activities. I feel like when I went out of my comfort zone and I tried different activities that I wouldn't necessarily try, or maybe ones that I would try but just in different contexts. And so like since COVID, I tried so many different activities that tremendously like helped so much in learning about myself. um and it was a bunch of things. Like I tried baking, I tried cooking, I tried journaling. I tried, and like journaling, like the cute, like the not journaling, like
Like
journal.
bullet journaling?
Like, no, it was more like a diary, and it was like with a bunch of like
Oh.
stickers. And I was really healing my inner child. Having fun.
I love that.
I love stickers so much. I have a huge collection. And so yeah, like it was just that. It was like learn, like just discovering myself through activities and doing things. I feel like it's less pressuring as well than just like than journaling, because journaling is great to for discovery, for self-discovery as well. But balancing both is good, because sometimes
Mm,
journaling, well, it gets deep pretty quickly, and sometimes it can be
yeah.
overwhelming. And so balancing it off with also trying different activities and saying what you like, what it tells you so much. And when you're in activities and you put yourself out there, it also unlocks so many things about you. And there were so many times where I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't know this about myself. Like, I actually like presenting, or oh, I didn't know this about myself. I actually can handle social settings. Like, yeah, that's what I would.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that also ties into like going out in just in public and even just like saying things that you don't normally say or like holding the door open for a stranger or just like random things that like would like surprise yourself. You're like, "Whoa, this is like cool. I'm doing something new." Even though it's just something like so ordinary and small and normal, it like you're just putting yourself out there, like consistently doing like small things and like, or commenting on someone's shoes or like the other day, or I was just like commenting on this girl's tattoo and like, and then we had this whole conversation about, and I just like learned about this random cashier at Target, and it was really fulfilling to me. And so even in like just small things like that, just like completely will change your day, and then ultimately it'll like just like have a trickle effect and like improve your
Definitely.
overall quality of life, I think.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like complimenting strangers and just doing things that are out of your comfort zone, talking to strangers even. I feel like
Mm.
all of it amounts to, as you said, a better quality of life. It just makes your life more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've pretty much shared everything about like everything that personally helped me in my self-love journey. What about you?
I think I have one more thing. The last thing would be it ties into the being selective of like the content you consume on social media. I think that and in real life, um, like you said before, you had a lot of, toxic friendships that you realize were toxic. And something that really changed my life as far as like making relationships and friendships is that you are not um what's the word? You are not required to be friends with someone based on the fact that you've already been friends for a long time. Like there is nothing binding you to your high school friends or your middle school friends if especially if like they are not their values don't align with yours anymore. And I think that I wish that I could tell myself that, when I was younger, because I felt like so much guilt for like not hanging out with people or not reaching out to people when I already know that I don't necessarily enjoy being around them or, whatnot. And so yeah, and that's another really important thing for me to like realize that like in order for me to love myself, I have to also surround myself with people who respect themselves and like, their community and like their family and their friends, and they are actively like making an effort to, maintain a friendship. And that's really important for just like overall like emotional well-being, being around people that are inspiring and not like, I guess, downers.
That is so important. Like it's unbelievable
Yeah.
the amount of like impact and energy that people can take away from you, and the impact that like the negative impact that they can have if you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And somehow like
Yeah.
I had very, very bad experiences, like friendship in general. Like as I said, the majority of them were toxic. And I learned that very early on when I was in high school. But I also like somehow also like had other, even though like I realized and I was like, wait, maybe this is toxic, I still had like more toxic friendships. And I think like what you said, you said this right now. You said like it's really important to find the people that are like inspiring, but also put in the effort when it comes to the relationship. I think that is so important, and it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
I feel like it's so connected to self-love and self-respect as well. Because if you're putting in like a lot of times for me back then when I was in high school, I used to like do so much. I'm always someone who does a lot, but back then it was so imbalanced because I would do so much and I felt like my friends wouldn't do like back then wouldn't do anything in return, and it felt
Yeah.
like it puts you in such a disgusting feeling of like, am I worthy? And you start questioning yourself so much, but then you realize
Yeah.
you can step out of those relationships and you can remove that control that people have on you. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily automatic. Like a lot of people sometimes don't even realize the things they do. Like, sure, you can communicate, of course. I'm always for communication. You can talk things out, but if the relationship is the same after you've talked out, it's just not meant and it's just not good. And there's no
Yeah.
need to like give yourself that type of energy and just be surrounded with people that just don't see your value or don't see that it's worth like I'm not gonna say fighting for, but working for. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's really important to surround yourself with the right people, people that will uplift you. It all like amounts. It relates to self love. There are people that are also like extremely negative, and whatever you do or say, there's always gonna be something wrong with it, and there's
Yeah.
always going to bring you down. Like if you speak about something, oh yeah, but that is impossible, or oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, that's it's always like it relates to things that are so simple. Like I don't know, you have a project idea, and then no, that's just too stupid. Don't do it. Like and but you
Yeah.
other people that are always gonna like bring you up, lift you up, still like you know, maybe constructively like criticizing you, but they're still there. You feel there's authenticity, there's realness, there's truthfulness in there, and there's also inspiration. Whereas like toxic people are always going to bring you
Mm.
down, and it's just awful to have that in your environment, especially if your environment is only made of those people. You're bound
Yeah.
to hate yourself, and you're bound to not be confident in what you do. You're bound to always give up and just be full of self-doubt, and it's an ugly feeling. It's not fun, and it just doesn't make life cool, fun, or just enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think the good place to start if you are in a situation where you feel like all your friends are toxic. Although like I think I was in a similar spot. I have like one friend now and like actually just one friend.
Mhm.
And like she's like, my best friend and like she is what she does like I guess embody the person that I want to be in some cases, like I really admire a lot of things about her. But that was not the case before when I was in college. I feel like a lot of friends from before are just stuck in the ways of like partying and drinking and doing all these things and not working on themselves. Their values don't align with mine and they're just like not as ambitious. And I don't want to surround myself with that. And so I think a good place to start is just if you are like feeling like everyone's toxic is just like start with one friend at a time. It's so hard when you have like a group of friends and you can't identify who's who. You can't identify like if you're close to this person or if like you're only close to this person because of this. And I think like to really like identify each like leg of your support system in your life to like understand like who actually is like there for you and who actually like you look up to, that can help you like just start with filtering out like the people who are or should be important to you in your life and that are worth fighting or working towards.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've said it all.
Yay! I think it was a really good one. It's all encompassing.
Yeah, it all relates. It's so unbelievable how everything relates to everything when it
Yeah,
comes.
I feel like you can just yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when I said when it comes to like self-love and personal development, just like so many things are interconnected, which is like obvious. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy actually. I feel like you could talk about there's like a web of things that you could just like go
right?
on and talk about and there's like this topic and this topic. But yeah, I think it's so intricate. Like I said, self-love, like there's so many things ties into it.
But yeah, let's do an outro so that we
Okay.
wrap up the episode. Okay, everyone.
Okay.
So we're done. We pretty much said everything. Thank you, Yvonne, for joining me today and to chat on self-love. I hope this episode helped you and that you find value in it. And you'll find all the links to Yvonne's account. Like you have, I think you have a TikTok and an Instagram account, right? Okay, so I'll link everything
Yeah, I have
uh,
both.
so you can follow Yvonne. And yeah, if you have like any I don't know, if feedback or if you have more questions to ask us, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Yvonne. And yeah, thank you.
Ew.
Have a great day. I think yeah, it's still day.
Okay, still gonna record it. Yeah. Have a good night. I'm sure it's late now, right?
It's 10.
Okay. Yeah. Hope you have a good night.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.